What's up, guys? How's it going? It's Matt here. So we're gonna do another free instructional video. Whoa, dude! Another free instructional video? That's crazy. Yes, I'm doing another free instructional video for you guys. So there's a couple common mistakes when it comes to shooting. When it comes to fundamentals, basic fundamentals in shooting. It's something as an instructor I see a lot of people doing, and I've caught myself doing it before. That's how I've kind of learned to, adjust to it, and other people have taught me ways to do it too. So we're going to talk about why you're shooting low and to the left or low and to the right. So as a right-handed shooter, I'm a right-handed shooter, left-eye dominant, I'm special, but as a right-handed shooter, all right, so the pistol I'm using is right here, my Glock 19. It has been cleared for the video, just like that. You can check it. Oh, that was scary. But anyway, it's been cleared for the video. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a couple quick demonstrations about how to get rid of that hit low and to the left, or if you're left-handed, low and to the right. All right, I'm going to talk about a couple quick ways how to take care of that. Now, there's two main reasons why you're shooting low and to the left or low and to the right. Now, there's two main reasons behind that. The first reason is trigger control. All right, if you guys remember, there's a bunch of fancy fundamentals on how you hit the target, and pistol shooting is by far the hardest discipline of shooting to actually master, because when you're trying to shoot it, is any slight movement whatsoever throws around all over the place. Whereas a rifle, it's a lot more accurate and easy to get better trigger control. Now, the first method is you have bad trigger control. Now, the two most important fundamentals are trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment. So the ability to pull that trigger, all right, really be able to pull the trigger without moving the front sight tip is what allows you to hit the target. So the very first reason that people are shooting low and to the left or low and to the right is because they are slapping the trigger. Slapping the trigger, jerking the trigger, there's a couple different names for them. Basically what it means is that when you're pulling the trigger, you're going so fast with your finger that's actually pulling the gun to the side, just like that. Now, I see this a lot in new students. They have a lot of issues. I always do like trigger control demonstrations because trigger control is so important. As a matter of fact, you've seen in a couple of videos I've done too, I've done trigger control demonstrations, because trigger control is so damn important when it comes to shooting, when it comes to pistols, when it comes to anything. But what happens is there's two ways they do it. They either start from here, all right, and they don't take the slack out. Now, most pistols, like this Glock here, this Glock 19 here, take a look, it's designed to have a little bit of slack in that trigger. See, you got a little bit of slack, a little bit of play, then it comes to a wall. Okay, once it comes to a wall, it breaks after it hits that wall. So what they do is to get through the slack, instead of trying to take the time to actually get that slack out, what they do is they simply start here and they do the 100-mile-an-hour method, which is boom, as fast as they possibly can. And when you do that, it pulls the gun a little bit to the side like that. Now, the other thing that they do too is after they pull the trigger, instead of keeping your finger down on the trigger like I'm going to teach you how to do, is what they do is they pull their finger off the trigger really fast, and then they come straight down really fast. So it would be like this, and they go boom, as fast as they can, and that really jerks the trigger a lot. Like I said, once again, the 100-mile-an-hour method. So we're going to teach you how to take care of that, how to help prevent that from happening. Now, it's called trigger control, okay? So first things first, you take that slack out. I've taught that before. You take that little slack out, all right, boom, boom, boom. You come to that little bit wall. If you have guns, you learn this through practice. You'll get a feel for the actual trigger itself. Don't get custom triggers unless you're a competition shooter. So you take that slack out just like that, and then you squeeze the trigger. When it breaks, you take a breath and you squeeze the trigger. Then once it's down here, you notice my finger's still on the trigger. I still have solid pressure. It's not going anywhere. I'm still pulling back against the actual trigger. Now, some people think that this is an automatic, and if I do that, just go, it's not the case. This is called a semi-automatic, which means it only goes bang every time you pull the trigger. So you pull the trigger, it stays back like this, and then the gun cycles, because the action of the pistol, when you pull the trigger, it goes bang, and then this cycles like that, putting another round in the chamber, and it ejects it around, put another round in the chamber, and then the trigger goes back into play. So what I do is, keeping steady pressure down on my finger, I slowly release it, and the trigger actually pushes your finger back to, boom, right there, the ready set. Did you see me remove my finger at all? I never once lost contact with the trigger. My finger stays in contact with that trigger the entire time. If you don't do that, you have to take that slack out again. All right, you have to take that slack out again. So if you go back and you don't go back to the reset, you got to take that slack out again, and you got to restart from square one. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make, especially new shooters or people that have developed bad habits over the year, or they just never had any specific training. That's one of the biggest things that they have. Now, the other reason why you shoot either low and to the left, or if you're left-handed, low and to the right, is the way how you're holding the gun. All right, that's another big reason, is the way how you're holding the gun. Now, the classic method of teaching, I think I've talked about this before too, is you line up the pistol with the actual bone structure of your arm. Now, that was taught because when you're doing the one-handed shooting, actually, got to get it right, get this hand in the pocket. When you're doing the one-handed shooting and you do it like that, it lines it up naturally with the bone structure of your arm, and it helps you with the recoil a little bit. One-handed, it's going to recoil. You know, you don't have that grip on it, so one hand is going to be more recoil. So you line it with the bone structure, and it has a little bit more recoil management. Not much, you have barely much, but it does help a little bit. However, that is an old method that's taught with firearms. Now, guns, especially striker fire, a lot of people say it's a striker fired pistol, and it's not the striker fire pistol's problem. It's actually the way how you're holding it and the way how the gun's actually designed and created. Now, I used to think it was the gun itself too, until I realized what I was doing, because I had someone actually to help me and teach me. Like, dude, this is what you're doing. Try this. Try this. And I go, whoa, that works. This is the method that you use. You don't hold it with the bone structure of your arm, because if you do, you know, they put a little, I have big freaking long ass fingers. All right, some people have smaller fingers than me, but it only puts a little bit of contact on the trigger. And sometimes it'll be like that. It's just a little tiny bit of contact on the trigger. Now, what happens when I pull it? You know which direction it's going? Now, I'm not forcing this to move. I'm just simply pulling the trigger, all right? I'm just trying to use my fingertip and pulling it, okay? When it does that, it moves the trigger a little bit to the side. Now, let's do it left-handed. Same deal. You line it up with the bone structure of the arm, and you squeeze that trigger just that way. And what does it do? It pulls a little bit to the right if you're left-handed, and to the left if you're right-handed. The trick to get rid of this is this. Watch. I start from here, and I go I line up my finger to right about there, okay? You notice how much more meat I got in this trigger? How much meat I got in this trigger? You want it kind of in this little gap, all right? In this little bit of a gap. Because when it's in there, it forces you to pull the gun back. See that? The difference is it pulls the gun back instead of, we'll do it this way, instead of moving it. So putting that little bit of extra meat on that trigger, what it does is it pulls the actual gun itself back to your body, okay? Back to you, okay? If I'm pointing it this way, it pulls it back towards me. So when I'm doing it like this, like see, boom, I'm lining up to the camera here. It's not moving. Now when I do it this way, watch what happens when I do it. And I have a good solid grip too. It's slightly moving it a little bit. Now, you can't get all the movement out of it. You can't get every single bit of movement out of there because it's a mechanical device and you have to move stuff and it's just going to happen. But it does help reduce that movement a lot by getting that little bit of extra meat on the trigger. Now, if you combine getting a little bit of extra meat on the trigger with the proper method of trigger control and keeping the steady pressure on the trigger and not taking your finger off the trigger like that, then that will really help reduce the low and to the left, or the low and to the right. So those are the two main reasons why people are throwing their rounds either low to the left or low to the right. Now, some people will say shot anticipation, which can be the case. Shot anticipation can also throw it to low and to the left or to low to the right. Most of the time when I see shot anticipation, it goes straight down. Shot anticipation is when someone's pointing the gun at the target and it's about to go bang, so it's going to be scary when you go bang. So they're about to do it and they get scared, or they try to anticipate the shot because there's going to be force coming back like this, so they drop the muzzle like this. And usually it goes straight down. I've seen people anticipate the shot so much that it goes down and rocks at the target, literally. So if you focus on the trigger control and you focus on the front sight picture, that gets your mind in those two big deal things, those two fundamentals, and that actually helps reduce the anticipation a lot too. But when it comes to the majority of the reasons why people are shooting low and to the left or low and to the right, it's because of trigger control and how they're holding the pistol. So I hope this helps, guys. And once again, like I said, it's about getting a little extra meat on that trigger, just a little bit of extra meat on that trigger, and it's about the proper trigger control methods. So there you have it, guys. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about me, and remember, it's our responsibility to take care of each other and protect each other. Peace.